Maybe you had an idea for an online course in the back of your mind for a while now. Maybe you've seen other people launch their online courses and now you're like, I can do that too. Maybe you're dreaming of earning passive income, like you create this online program once and people can buy it for years and years to come without you doing anything. Wouldn't that be the dream, right? And I've seen that happening. And I built my business selling online courses and I love that business model. So one of my clients launched her online course in 2019, had a 5-figure launch. She made over 20,000 euros in her first launch, and it's still selling. She's never launched it again. It's just available on her website and people are still buying it. By the way, this is not what I recommend necessarily, and she's definitely leaving money on the table by never launching it again. But she put her focus on other things in her business, and that's fine, of course. So she's being strategic about her goals and what she's focusing on. So you want this too, right? Who wouldn't? But where do you start? You might be wondering, how big does your audience really have to be? Is it enough to have followers on social media? Do you need an email list? How big does your email list have to be? So let's talk about it. Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Reiker, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started. It's obvious, really, right? To sell an online course successfully, you need to have an audience to sell it to. Do not make the mistake of assuming because you have a big following somewhere else that will make up for not having an email list. This is really, really important. When launching an online course, you need an email list. So let me be super clear here. I'm not saying an email list might be beneficial or could help with sales. No, you really need an email list. If you do not have an email list, don't bother yet thinking about building your online course. Build the email list first. I cannot emphasize enough how absolutely vital your email list is. So if you have a really big following on social media, like on Instagram or YouTube, that will help you, of course. And you might be able actually to have a successful launch when you have like 20,000 followers on Instagram, for example. But let's face it, most of us who don't have an email list don't have more than a few hundred followers on social media as well, or maybe 1,000 or 2,000. And that's not going to be enough. But if you have a significant following on social media, growing your email list will be a lot easier. So you definitely have a head start. Your job before you launch your online course is to get those followers to sign up to your email list. And you can do that, for example, by offering them a freebie or lead magnet that you share in exchange for their email address. So when you have a big following on social media, it's going to be easier for you to actually grow your email list. And if that's not happening, if none of your followers on social media is interested in the freebie that you created, they might also not be interested in the online course you want to sell to them. It's never about the quantity alone. It's also about the quality of your followers. How engaged are they? How interested are they in what you're offering? How much do they relate to the problem you're solving? All those things. So you need an email list of the right people. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But before I do that, I want to get into the nitty-gritty details. And let's talk about how many people do you actually need on your email list. So let's do the math, right? how big does your email list need to be before you launch your online course? So normally you can expect between 1 and 2% of your email list to convert into buyers of your course. So let's say you want to sell your online course for $500 or probably something like $499, but let's use 500 now because it's easier to calculate, right? To do the math. And you'd like to make $5,000 with your first launch. To make $5,000 on a $500 course, you need 10 sales. So that's easy, right? So assuming your email list conversion rate, so the number of subscribers turned students is 1.5%, you therefore need an email list of 666 people in order to hit your sales goals. If your conversion rate is 2%, you need 500 people on your email list. And obviously, if you plan to sell your course for a lower price, you need a bigger list to reach your income goal, or your income goal might be lower, right? So you might expect your conversion rate to be higher when you ask for a lower price, but that's not always the case, and it's really difficult to predict. Yes, you can outprice yourself. You can set your price too high so nobody buys. But you can also make a course more affordable if you offer a payment plan. So for example, for a $500 course, you can say 6 payments of $97, and the $97 actually make this course appear more affordable than a, for example, $400 course without a payment plan. So, yes, so there will be a difference in your conversion rate when you have a $200 course and a $20,000 program. But in my experience, the conversion rate between I think the cheapest online course I sold was like $200, and then, for example, $500 or even $1,000. The conversion rate isn't as different. I mean, obviously there are other factors that influence the conversion rate, like how clear is your messaging, how much does the problem you're solving with your online course resonate with your followers, like how invested would they be in your solution, right? So how much do they need your solution, and all those things. And I think actually they have a bigger influence on the conversion rate than the price. So don't think that if you sell something for $100 or $150 or $200, that you will sell so much more, that it will make up on the income that you can reach on your income goals, compared to when you sell your program for a higher price point. I really saw my business change so much when I finally asked for a higher price point and sold my first $1,000 online course. And so I am really believing in higher prices now, especially when you only have a smaller audience and just a small following, because it's going to help you reach your income goal, and that's going to give you the opportunity to invest back into your business, to invest in ads, to invest in the quality of what you're sharing with your student, to invest in support. And then that gives you the chance to really grow and scale, right? So it's really difficult to get there when you only sell a really low priced offer. So because everybody starts with a really small audience. We all do. Yes. So if you say you want to earn $5,000, you have a $500 course, 10 sales, you need 666 people on your email list. So there's no guarantees with the 1 to 2% conversion rate, by the way. So some of my clients, they had results way past those numbers. So one client had I think nearly 10% conversion rate in her first course launch, and some of my launches converted at a lower range. So in my first launch, my very, very first online course launch back in At the end of 2016, I sold 6 courses and my email list was about 500. So my conversion rate was a little bit over 1%. But also my email list wasn't very warm. So they came from a different business. So it wasn't really 100% like people interested necessarily in an online course by me. After your first couple of launches, or actually after your first launch already, you will want to compare your own results. So that's what you measure up against, the results that you achieved in your past launches. So you can get started and calculate, do the math with 1 to 2%. What you also need to consider, though, is that if you build an email list full of people who are not interested in the topic of your course, you can expect a much lower conversion rate than the industry standard of 1 to 2%. So you need to make sure that your email list is full of people actually interested in your course topic. And you do that, for example, by creating an opt-in, a freebie or lead magnet, which is the perfect first step before what your course teaches. Or you share content that's really related to the topic you're going to teach in your online course leading up to your launch. So there are a few strategies that you can use, and this is like one of the things also why niching is so important, right? And really being clear about who you want to serve and what you offer. Another thing I want to mention here is if you're thinking, okay, 660 people, I'm just going to buy them, or I'm just going to buy my followers on social media. Please don't do that. Don't even think about that. Never buy an email list or social media followers. Just don't do it. Never. It's never going to serve you, and it can actually destroy your business. So for example, on social media, when you buy followers, they are never going to engage with what you share. And that's going to hurt your results, because that means that Instagram, for example, they are measuring your engagement rate. And when that's really low, they're going to show your posts to less and less people. So this is definitely not what you want, right? So the quality of your followers is so much more important than the quantity. And the same applies to your email list. You can really reach a lot with a small email list. You might even have better results than 1 to 2% conversion rate with a smaller list. So I've seen that happening. And normally I recommend for my students that they should launch their first online course when they have 250 people on their email list. So try to get 250 people to sign up to your email list before you launch for the first time. You might not get the big results, right? So you might not have like the biggest 5-figure launch with your first launch with such a tiny list. But that's fine. Start small and grow from there. So have an email list. So grow your email list to 250 people, sell a $500 course, get 2 to 5 students in your first launch. It's going to be your beta launch where you test everything out. So you create a stellar experience for your first students, fine tune your program, collect feedback and testimonials, and parallel continue to grow your list and then launch it again to a bigger audience and get better results. So this is a long game that you're playing here. I don't want you to just like, okay, I'm going to create an online course and that's it, right? So I want you to launch it again and again and make it better and grow your list and grow your audience and really build a sustainable, profitable online business. So that's what I'm teaching my students inside my program, Blissful Biz Incubator. And that's also why it's a 12-month program. So it's like this hybrid between online trainings and one-on-one support. And you can learn more about it when you go to susannereiker.com/application. There you get all the details and you can sign up for a private training that I only share with acceptance applicants. So, which is a great training. So I highly recommend that you sign up for it. It's totally free to apply and there's no obligation to join anything. So if you're interested to learn more about that, go to susannereiker.com/application. So so in that program, my goal is to help my clients, my students really build a profitable online business. And that means more than launching one online course, right? So there's like so much more that you can do, that you need to focus on, like building your brand, optimizing your website, creating your offers, growing your audience, launching and again, and also like investing then in paid advertising. So that's another step that's going to help you, obviously. If you want to see better results, there will come a time in your business where you're going to need to invest in advertising to really scale. So I run ads in my business when I'm doing a launch. For example, for my last website training that I just did in April, I spent $3,000 on Facebook ads. So this is a proven product. I know that it works and that it converts. This is not the first time I launched that program, right? So I'm pretty comfortable spending that amount on ads. So, but I didn't start there. I didn't start spending $3,000 on ads. So I probably spent like maybe $500 on one of my first launches in ads, and then $1,000, and a little bit more. And so I slowly built my way up, probably too slowly compared to other people. And so I've probably been playing small a little bit here. But I've definitely seen the results of spending ads, and it's something I'm going to invest more going forward. I feel kind of bad that I didn't really invest more heavily in Facebook ads like in the past years, because like they get more and more expensive and it gets more and more challenging. So it's definitely also something where you need to have you need to have a budget to experiment and to see if you really get results, and you need a proven product. So I would never recommend that you spend on Facebook ads when you launch your online course for the first time. So I would recommend that you organically build your email list and get your first small group of followers and subscribers. Then you launch it. And when you really see, people are buying it. People are getting results. This is actually a great program. Then you can invest in Facebook ads, right? If nobody buys it from the people who followed you like organically, why would anyone buy who doesn't even know you, who've never really worked with you before, who've just seen like a Facebook ad? So, obviously there are people who had great results and they started with Facebook ads right out of the door. And it's just not what I would recommend. So, but maybe it's also me, like, right? I'm a little bit more careful there with investing money in advertising. But moving forward after your first launch, definitely something to consider as well to scale. And then you also know your numbers. So you know, if you spend X amount on Facebook ads, you're going to get X amount of people who subscribe, for example, for your webinar or for your free challenge, and it's going to convert at X. And so you know, like, how much you need to spend, or how much you can afford to spend, and how much you're going to get out of it, right? So we talked about numbers, and you need to know your numbers to run a successful business. But it's not only about the numbers when it comes to your email list. So I think I touched on that a little bit already. So you can really start with the small email list, and it's always more about the quality than the quantity. It's about the relationship that you have with your subscribers that is going to have the biggest influence on your results. So I have seen people with lists of, let's say, less than 200 people, but those subscribers are diehards that they have a really good relationship with, and their conversion rates, I can't even talk about them because they're ridiculously high. So I want you to stop thinking only about how many people do I have on my email list? How many people do I need on my email list? and start thinking about how can I build relationships with individuals so that they know I'm real and I'm going to deliver for them, right? So, you can reach really great results with a small email list, but there are a few things you can do to make your small list work even more for you. So here's one thing. You can reach out with personal videos or sound messages. So yes, send a personal video to every subscriber. You can use a tool like BombBomb. I'm going to add the link to the show notes. That's BombBomb to record short videos like 30 seconds and then send it through Gmail. So you really address people personally with their name. You can even hold up like a whiteboard into the camera. So they see this is really personal. And yeah, so you can probably do like one video every minute or every 2 minutes. And then send out like 20 to 30 per hour, right? So in a few hours, you can really reach a lot of people, in a very personal way. Another thing you can do is reply to everyone. Reply to every question and every DM that you get. Ask for questions in your emails and not just with a cookie cutter copy and paste response, but take the time to read through the question, check out their profile, tailor your response. This really makes such a big difference to people. And next, offer calls to answer questions. So this is something you can't or wouldn't want to do if you have a couple thousands of people on your email list, because you wouldn't have the bandwidth to actually do all of those calls. But with a small list, you can offer it, and it makes such a huge difference. When you are small, you can do that. You can offer that more personal, individual contact to you. And, like people get scared to do sales calls, but it is 1,000,000 times easier to sell on the phone than it is through email. So that's one thing you can do when you're small that people with a really big list, they probably don't want to do anymore. So this kind of personalization is so much easier when you do have the smaller list, the smaller community. And this is how you can get started. Just like sell your online course for the first time, right? I don't want you to have to wait for 6 months or longer to grow your email list, to start sharing content before you sell anything. This is not a smart business strategy. You need to create offers right away and start selling them right away, even when you only have a really small following. So another strategy you can focus on is offer more higher ticket offers. So this is what I'm doing. So I do have my Blissful Websites course for $497 that I sell mostly on Evergreen. I've just done a launch, but I think it's the first real launch that I did in 1.5 years. And this course, it makes me money, but it's not the most profitable thing in my business. So I sell higher ticket offers like the Blissful Biz Incubator, which is a mix of online training and one-on-one support, and which is definitely a higher investment. And I also offer one-on-one coaching now. So this is really new. And I get on Zoom with people and make them a customized experience. So we talk about how I could help them, that they're not getting anywhere else. So this works really well with a smaller audience. So I also sell in the DMs on Instagram. I get in touch with people. I discuss like their goals and what they want to achieve in the DM. So this is called social selling. I just started with that at the end of last year. I actually really like doing it. I feel like being active in the DMs, it really brings the social back into social media for me. So I really enjoy that. And, so it's a different approach to just like selling to an email list, right? So this is not the only thing you can do is sending out emails. So I still do that as well, but I'm not focusing only on that. So where do you start to grow your email list and to get your first, 200 or 300 or 500 subscribers? So that's the topic for an upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that. Definitely check it out. It's going to come in a few weeks. And then we're going to talk more about that. I hope all that info helps you launch that first online course with a bang. So I'm really rooting for you here. I know you can do it. Just get it out there, right? Call it a beta test. Have your first a couple of clients in there. And over time, it's going to become this amazing program that's going to help people and really transform lives. This is what I want you to dream about. This is what I want to help you achieve. So that's been it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you same place, same time next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to SusanneReiker.com right now. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.